It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. I'm Jeff Grubb. I write over on GamesBeat.com, and I do GrubbSnax here on GiantBomb.com as a contributor. That Quantic Dream Star Wars game is real. I feel like it's 100% for sure a thing. Like, the reporting on it is correct. I was saving it for this, and the reporter just kept coming out and being like, "Oh, okay. Well, by the time we get to Thursday, everyone's gonna know." But what the hell? We're here. Let's talk about it. They have been working on it for a year and a half, and it does seem like it is not exactly a Quantic Dream game. So Quantic Dream, I guess, for people who might be like trying to place that name, that is the studio that does like Detroit Become Human and those PlayStation visual novel games with like the really good graphics, the really realistic graphics anyhow. And the Star Wars game that they're working on is not necessarily like that. It does seem like it will be more of an action adventure game. I would guess that they are probably going to use some of their technology. A lot of their motion capture stuff will probably still feature prominently in the game. And then I would expect still to be very story heavy and very to emphasize choices and stuff like that still. But it's not going to just be an adventure game where you are basically pointing and clicking on an environment and then choosing dialogue options. There will be it'll be more direct gameplay than that. I am not necessarily super excited about this. I haven't really loved any Quantic Dream games, but and Quantic Dream, well known, but most recently best known for its civil suit in France, where people alleged that it was a pretty toxic environment with racist like characters drawn of other employees, and the company was able to fight those off without necessarily saying that stuff didn't happen. It seems like they admitted most of that stuff did happen, but the argument seemed to be it was all in good fun, which, hey, so I'm not thrilled about a Quantic Dream Star Wars game. So you know what? So we don't have to necessarily talk about this game specifically. Let's talk about what this means more broadly for Star Wars. We talk about this a lot on this show. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm literally wearing a Darth Vader shirt right now. There are a lot of Star Wars games in the works. And I think when you hear a Quantic Dream, I'm like struggling to say that word, Quantic Dream Star Wars game, to me that says we are going to get back to a point where there are a lot of Star Wars games coming out from a lot of different studios, and they're all going to be relatively different. There's going to be a lot of variety. I think they are trying to go back to like that golden era of the early 2000s where there was just a ton of Star Wars games coming out. I think they want to get back to that, and they're on that path. They are I know that the discussions are happening all the time with tons of developers. They are very interested in making a lot of Star Wars games. So if that's like, to me, that's the ideal situation where we're going to get a lot, and not all of them are going to be good, but maybe a lot of them will be interesting at the very least. And that is, to me, that's exciting, because I like some weird old not great Star Wars games. The Jango Fett game, Bounty Hunter, I like that one. It's one that like is cool to go back to still, and it's not necessarily a game that was praised at the time. It's just one of those things, like, if you did play it at the time and you go back, you think about like a weird Star Wars universe, like a corner of the Star Wars universe that a game explored. It's cool that exists. I want to get back to that point. I think a good point of comparison here is the Warhammer series and Warhammer 40K, where it just seems like there are 5 or 6 of those games coming out all the time, and hopefully the quality is a little bit better than what Warhammer's had. There are some good Warhammer games, but you want the consistency to be a little bit better than that. But I think generally the Warhammer IP has the right idea. Kind of just let anyone with a good pitch go for it and see what happens. Because, well, like, what is the worst that could happen? A bad Star Wars game comes out. We've lived through worse. We've like experienced that before. We'll be fine. Let a bad Star Wars game come out if it means there will be some interesting stuff. I think that this Quantic Dream story is very indicative that is exactly what is happening. All right, let's talk about Titanfall 3. Titanfall 3 is not happening. Let's just make it as clear as possible. They're not really working on Titanfall 3. Now, there was some confusion about this because the Titanfall 3 name showed up in that NVIDIA leak we talked about last week. I think I said then, and I'll just reiterate, Titanfall 3, when it was in a database, when that name showed up in databases like that, that was a reference to Apex Legends before Apex Legends came out. I think that was reported elsewhere. That is 100% what that name was. It was never a real Titanfall 3. It was always Apex Legends. And then, but that's still, you see Titanfall 3, people are like, hey, there's a leak with a bunch of stuff that we think is real. Titanfall 3 is in there. So is that happening? And they go to Respawn Entertainment community developer, I think that's his title, something like that, Jason Garza. And they said, hey, any comment on Titanfall 3? And he was like, you could tell that he was getting a little sick at answering this question. I don't blame him. But the meat of the statement was, don't get your hopes up. Nothing is in the works. There's nothing there. We have too many other games. And that is exactly the case. That is exactly what is happening at Respawn. They have too many other projects in the works. So there is Apex Legends, which will continue to be a live service game that they focus a lot of effort on. Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is, I think, confirmed, obviously. That is still happening. There is a secret project that for some reason I cannot get in, like, I just can't find out what it is. I have no idea what it is. It's really on lockdown. But yeah, so there's a secret project. There's at least one secret project. I think there's multiple projects, and none of those are Titanfall 3. Almost knocked my water over. Titanfall 3 is not in production in the same way that all those other things are. If there is a Titanfall 3, it's on paper, it's in someone's brain, it's an artist maybe doing conceptual work on the side. It is not in active development in the way some of these other projects are. Now, you know, the reason this is a story is because this was a story yesterday where this Jason Garza said this stuff, and places were writing up stories saying, hey, we're probably not going to get Titanfall 3 ever. And then Respawn decided to respond to that with saying, hey, despite some of the reporting, Titanfall is core to our DNA at Respawn. And first of all, I didn't read a single story that was like, Titanfall, not core to Respawn's DNA. That was not the story. It's just so weird when these companies have to like build a straw man to argue against to counter the PR war that they're in or whatever. And then they're like, who knows what can happen in the future? Well, they would know. Respawn would know if they were working on a Titanfall 3. They're not. They're not working on one right now. I think the suggestion is it's not dead forever. It's not dead forever 100%. They definitely have, in their hearts, they know Titanfall is beloved, but they also know it's niche, and they're taking other swings right now, and if they have to go back to it, it is an option. It's kind of where that's at. So I'm just not going to get my hopes up for it anytime soon. And even if it like were to come back, you know, it's gonna like it'd be so far removed. Gaming will have changed, the studio will have changed. Respawn's in a situation where they can kind of do whatever they want, and they're not doing Titanfall. So is that if they don't want to be working on it right now, then you know, then don't work on it. I get it. And then I'll just have to continue going back to play Titanfall 2 over and over again, one of the best games ever made. From Vetterly, I watched Dune earlier this week. I watched Dune earlier this week, and then I realized that Jeff Grubb is the cute version of Jason Momoa. Is this correct? No, I am the store brand version of Jason Momoa. I am the Wish.com version of Jason Momoa. Put Jason Momoa in the microwave for about 30 seconds too long. That's what I am. Permanent Sigh, why did Nintendo suddenly enable Bluetooth audio on the Switch 4 years later? There's no good answer to that. I feel like it's like one of those things where they woke up like, hey, we could, so let's do it. Who knows? Maybe internal thinking shifts, and they're like, hey, so we have only so much Bluetooth bandwidth. If we do this, we're not gonna be able to have like 4 controllers connected or whatever. Like, who is listening to their Bluetooth headphones or, you know, Bluetooth headset for gaming if they're playing alongside someone else? That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, of course do that. I don't know. It was probably just one day someone woke up and was like, hey, we did this. We could just, at this point, we could just honestly just flip a switch. Do you want us to? And then someone's probably like, yeah, let's do it. Part of it probably also, like, they probably already did it for the OLED model, because they want to like position the OLED. It's $50 more expensive. They want to position it right and say, hey, this is like for people who care about audio visual. And you can't really do that if you don't support Bluetooth. Now, really, you can't do that if you only have the SBC codec, which is a pretty laggy codec. but they don't. Nintendo. It doesn't seem like they're gonna like implement anything that's fast. Like aptX is Qualcomm. I don't think they have a Qualcomm chip anywhere inside there. I wouldn't think they do. There are other fast codecs that absolutely they could use, but yeah, it's still they like Bluetooth audio. Still, like, you can put it on the box even if it's not a good implementation of Bluetooth audio. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you everybody for sending in questions. This is a lot of fun. If anyone has any recommendations for lifting dumbbells, which I just started doing, or if you have any recommendations for thoughts on childcare, because I'm trying to figure that out, I would love to hear them. Get me in my DMs. Hit me on Twitter. Reach out. I would love to hear that stuff. I appreciate it. We got a good audience here that knows a lot of stuff. I want to capitalize on it. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the Nintendo Direct today. Go listen to the Bombcast earlier this week. It was really good. I enjoyed listening to it. And then the next week, they're going to have B-Mails back on. I'm excited about that. So be on the lookout for that. All right, I'm going to wrap this up now. I'm going to hit the button that does the yummy, yummy goodbye. And then we're going to get out of here. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Goodbye.